Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and this week I've been driving the 2026 Toyota Corolla SE Hybrid. Up front is a 1.8 liter inline-4 as well as a hybrid system, and down below is an eCVT. Now I am super excited to be making this video here today because I've spent some time here with the Corolla. However, this isn't my first crack at the Corolla Hybrid. I have driven several of these vehicles. I'm a big fan of them. I'm excited to walk you through the 2026 model. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 1.8 liter inline-4 under the hood. Well, that is a pretty simple bread and butter engine. It is paired to a hybrid system. However, it is not a plug-in hybrid. So you don't have to charge it at night, you don't have to plug it into the wall, nothing of that sort. It has an electric motor on board that's going to help the gas engine achieve its most efficient state. So on starts and stops, it will kick into EV mode because that is the hardest an engine has to work, is to get the car moving in general. But also at slower speeds, it's going to be in electric mode. So you're going to get great fuel economy. On a test I did, which I'll link at the end of this video, I was able to average well into the high 50s of miles per gallon on the highway, which is just exquisite here in 2026. Now, like I said, paired to it is an eCVT. This feels very, very natural with the hybrid system because it's switching in and out of gas and electric. The funkiness of the CVT doesn't really enter the cabin. You don't really notice it switching ratios and changing and doing all of its little CVT things. So it actually feels pretty natural, and it feels pretty good here in the Corolla Hybrid. Last but not least, this particular Corolla Hybrid is all-wheel drive, which is fantastic. However, you can find regular Corollas in front-wheel drive as well, if that's something that you want, and that will save you some coin. How does it feel to drive the Corolla Hybrid? Well, it's actually pretty great. It doesn't have any distinct driving features. It's very blobby and bland in that sort of way, but you get great fuel economy. It's easy to drive. It's easy to see out of. Steering isn't too heavy. Throttle response isn't crazy, but it's also not zero, which is great. So overall, it does a job, and that's gonna weigh very heavily into our final thoughts segment. But for now, are you going to like it? Probably. It's fine, but there you go. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, right off the bat, we do have a completely digital gauge cluster. I'm not a huge fan of this. I think Toyota gauge clusters are kind of busy. There's a lot going on. They're kind of annoying to change the different settings on, especially while driving. You have to take your eyes off the road for a very long time, which is just not safe at all. So I don't love it. However, this is part of an upgrade package that includes the larger screen. That is $1,000. So that is $1,000 added onto the price tag, which is why we're up at $30. On the steering wheel, on the left, we do have our selectors for that gauge cluster screen, as well as volume and voice commands. And off to the right, we have our adaptive cruise, as well as skip track. Off to the left, we have a climate control vent. We have our gauge dimmer switch, auto high beams, and traction control off, as well as our gas cap release. And moving on to the door, we have our latch to get in and out, power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we get that larger infotainment display. This does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as it does have an integrated backup camera. This is Toyota's pretty standard system. The RAV4 has debuted a new infotainment system that is a little bit nicer, which I'm sure will hit the Corolla at some point in the future. Overall, it's fine. My big downside for this is, as of the 2026 model year, I want to say, they've actually gotten rid of the volume knob in turn for volume buttons. I think this was a bad trade-off. I don't like these volume buttons. They're not very good, and it takes a long time to go volume up or volume down. So, unfortunately, this is a big downside. Down below that, we do have two climate control vents with the hazard switch, and our climate controls, single zone climate here in the Corolla Hybrid. Fan speed off to the right, temperature off to the left, and where to send it in the center. However, you can put it into eco mode, which is nice, but I really would have liked dual zone. Then we do have a USB-C charger as well as a wireless charger down below. And moving into the center, we get the drive mode select for sport, normal, and eco. We have our EV mode button, so you can activate this if you want at slow speeds, shifter, and cup holders. So we'll do a big friggin' bottle test, and it fails, but no one here is surprised. Then we have our auto holding brake and our power parking brake button, center console with USB-C and a 12-volt outlet, and then we have the seats. The seats are manual, which up at 30 grand, I really feel like we should start to get power seats here in the Corolla. We don't, but that's okay. They're cloth, they're fine. They do the job. They do feel pretty cheap. They do feel pretty economy, but it's been comfortable enough for my time with the Corolla. My back hasn't been hurting, so I'll give it an overall 3/4 of a thumbs up. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, getting in the back of the all-wheel drive hybrid Corolla, we do have a little ice scraper because it's that time of year. Ooh, this is gonna be rough. All right, we're in the back. My knees are hitting the seat in front of me. However, as you'll notice, the seats actually have quite a bit of give, so I could sit pretty normally. This is my driving position. Again, they can move it up. This is a little bit more realistic. If you're gonna have people in the back, you know, the passenger's gonna be a little bit nice, move up and compromise a little bit of their space. For the space back here, it's fine. It's livable, it's not wonderful. This is kind of why the Camry exists, and the Camry kind of starts around 30, so this is kind of a natural handoff, like in a relay race from the Corolla to the Camry. We do have 2 USB-Cs right here, but no rear climate vents. Pretty standard for this class of car. We do have a center console with 2 cup holders, very nice, but you can see, you know, cloth seats. They look semi-interesting, but they feel pretty uninteresting. We also do get a light up here. I guess that's kind of nice. As we'll talk about with the rest of the car, it's a very unimpressive, normal, bland, basic back seat. Can you take people back here? Yes. Are they gonna love it? Probably not. They're probably not gonna be head over heels when you get out. They're not gonna be like, oh my God, please, can I stay in the back seat for 5 minutes longer? No, it's a back seat of a car. It is here to serve a purpose. That's it. It doesn't really care about what you want or feel. It fulfills the box, and it does it. So it's not a terrible place to be, but it's not my favorite either. Let's hop into the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the Toyota Corolla Hybrid, button up above the license plate, and there you go. Now, the one thing I do want to note is that it does have a hybrid battery, and it doesn't eat into the trunk space like it does in a lot of other hybrids. Now, it does go up a little bit, but if you peel this up, you do get a fix-a-flat kit, no spare tire here in the hybrid. You can see down there some hybrid stuff. So unfortunately, just a fix-a-flat kit. So that might be something you might want to look into, either carrying a spare tire in your trunk or figuring out some other method. But that is the trunk space of the Corolla Hybrid. Done and dusted. Now we gotta talk about the looks. And again, this is very plain Jane, very anonymous, really. I mean, I think it's a fine looking car, but I don't think it's going to steal the show. It's not gonna be that interesting, and your neighbor's jaws aren't gonna hit the floor when you bring this home from the dealer. It's presentable, but especially in this darker gray color, that's kind of my closing thoughts on that. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Corolla Hybrid? Well, I really, really like this car. I always tell people that are looking for a car sub $30,000, this is the one to have. Now, it is going to be a little bit cramped in the back seat and things like that, and it's not going to be flashy. It's not going to have the newest tech. It's not going to make people jealous, but it's going to be reliable transportation. It's going to be very easy on your wallet, and it's just going to operate as an appliance should. This is going to be more so of a dagger in your pocket rather than a mission statement. And that's my final feelings on this. I feel like today in society, everyone wants everything to give you emotion. I want the pencil I write with to make me feel something. I want my lights to be a certain color when I come home, and I want to cultivate a mood and feeling and vibe. And so I think it's easy to look at this Corolla and brush it off because it doesn't. It doesn't evoke any emotion. It doesn't produce a vibe. It doesn't make me feel a certain way. And as someone that is really into cars, I want my cars to feel a certain way. I want my cars to be these emotional hunks of metal, rubber, and glass. But the Corolla doesn't give me that. And that's okay. It doesn't need to. This car needs to be an appliance. It's something that the masses can buy and will get good fuel economy, will get you where you need to go. And it's not going to fuss. It's not going to give you this acrobatic show as it's trying to start up in the morning. You just hit the button, it's on, and you start moving. That's the whole thing. It's a very, very unemotional car. And so I understand emotions are very important. I want my spouse to have emotions. I want my dog to have an emotion when I walk in the door. I want to see the little tail wagging. I want my friends and family to express their emotions with me. I want that intimacy. But you don't need that out of every single car. There are cars that give you that. The Toyota Supra, Exhibit A. That makes you really truly feel something when you're behind the wheel and chucking it into gear. But this doesn't. This is an Excel spreadsheet with 4 rubber tires. This is toast with a tiny piece of butter on it. But even butter seems a little bit too loud and flashy for what this Corolla is. Maybe this is just a plain piece of bread in a toaster. Maybe it's not even toasted. This car is a manila folder sitting on a desk. But that doesn't make it any less important. We need vehicles like this. And so if you are looking for an unemotional, straightforward, direct vehicle that you need to work every day as an appliance, this is the car for you. Now, if you want a car that's pizzazzy and flary and crazy, the GR Corolla is that car now. It pops, it snarls, it cracks your neck, it beats your bottom end. That has flair and emotion, but it's also $17,000 more. It's also gonna be in the shop more than this. It's also gonna hurt your bank account at the pump way more than this. So this is the safe bet, and gosh darn it, it's a great one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Toyota for letting me borrow their Corolla for the last week. Huge thank you to Drive Shop for facilitating the cleaning and delivery of this vehicle. And of course, the Midwest Automotive Media Association. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.